Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Greetings to one and all. Once again, I would like to welcome you on the Law of Banking and Negotiable Instruments lecture. So this is lecture number 17. Under this lecture, I would like to share with you the e-banking and its legal consequences. I am Dr. Raju Maji, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Law, Banaras Hindu University. Once again, welcome you all. So the e-banking, its regulations in India, it's very significant, the e-banking plays a very significant role in the modern times. So to understand in a better way, I have divided this lecture in the following heads. First, we will see the definitions and meaning of e-banking. Then I'll discuss the components of e-banking. And the third, I'll go with the kinds of e-banking. And then naturally, the merits and demerits of e-banking. I'll talk with you the issue of e-banking, and then I'll talk about the regulations of e-banking in India. So in this head, we will try to understand what to mean by the e-banking. So dear friends, that when we are talking about the e-banking, we will have to understand that it's not a new thing. It will be better to say that the banking sector from the traditional, you can say the means of way to render their service, they have changed, and it will be better to say that they have not changed, they are compelled to change it due to the technological advancement. As far as the technological advancements, the banking sector also compels that they'll have to adopt the new technology to cope up, to share their business with their customers. So when we are talking about the definitions of e-banking, then as I have told you, that it's not a new thing. Only that I have told you that it is the way, the means through which the banking sector is rendering its service to its customers. So from the traditional view, or in the traditional way, they have changed their, you can say, the way of rendering their service. So dear friends, that e-banking stands for electronic banking. So E stands for the electronic. So the electronic banking is a generic term encompassing internet banking, telephone banking, mobile banking, etc. In other words, we can say that it is a process of delivery of banking services and products through the electronic channels such as telephone, internet, cell phone, etc. Again, I would like to mention here that the electronic banking, as I told you, that it's a means, the way. So initially, when it was started, so with the help of the internet facility, that we extended services, or the banking extended its services to its customers to very limited extent. At the very beginning, if you'll see that when we'll talk about the features of e-banking, then we'll find, or the way through which the banking sector is extending their service, or they are reaching to in the hand of their customers. So in that way, we'll see that what kind of the means they are applying. But at that moment, when we are talking about the services rendered through the electronic means, so through the process of internet banking, we are using nowadays, everyone, they have their Android phones, and through the Android phones, they are in a position to get all kind of the banking facilities which is provided by the banking sector to its customers, as we are talking about the net banking system. So the net banking system can be accessed through the mobile phones, it can be accessed through the laptop, it can be accessed through the other kinds of, you can say, the electronic gadgets. So that's why we can say that it's a process of delivery of banking services and products through the electronic channels such as telephones, internet, and the cell phone, etc., as I have already mentioned before you. Now, when we are talking about that how it can be done, then the questions before us that can be solved, and that's why I have decided to tell you certain things which we can say the components of the internet banking. So dear students, the following are the primary characteristics of the electronic banking. Let me explain one by one. the banking operations are carried out via the use of the internet, because it can reach clients at various counters and the jurisdictions. It removes the conventional geographical restrictions that existed. E-banking makes it possible to conduct financial transactions at any time and on any day of the week, especially on variations and weekends. And the second thing is very important, because it helps to reach the various counters and jurisdictions. So in that way, it removes the conventional geographical restrictions that existed earlier. That what happens, that unless and until you have a branch in that locality or area, you are not in a position to do the banking transactions. But through the internet banking, it is possible that even if the infrastructure is not there, but if you have the internet facilities, even the branch is not available in that area, the banking conventions, or you can say the banking transactions, can be done with a particular bank. So in that way, when we are talking about due to the expansions or the adoptions of the electronic means, the banking is in a position to provide its services throughout the day. Now, this development enables the introductions of a number of novel distribution techniques that are easier and more cost effective for both customers and banking organizations. Now, as I have told you, that there is no need to go to the bank. The extended services are available in your hand, and even by sitting at your home, you are in a position to transfer money, you are in a position to make payments, which is available at your ends. The utilizations of technical devices and save both time and money for the banker and the customers is a key component of the system's foundations in technology and research. Now, it's you can say the very good, the advantage we can say through the utilizations of the technical devices. By using that, it not only make it convenient to the customers, but it also saves for the time and money for both the customers as well as the banking companies. In this case, it makes sure that the money transfer is safe, and it also makes sure that the customers is not going to be found out and that the money is real. Sometimes we find that there is no need to carry the money, that if you are willing to discharge some sort of the responsibility through the bank, it can be done by making the electronic transfer. So for this purpose, as far as concerned, that when we are talking about the banking sector extended or complying these services through the various means. So the banking companies or the banking sector, the electronic banking offers its financial services to its prospective customers through various forms, such as that generally they are using by the banking companies, that is automated teller machines, that is ATM facilities, the telephone banking, home banking, internet banking, and the mobile banking. As I have told you, that in every corner that you will find that the automated teller machines are situated. Initially, these automated teller machines is used for only the sole purpose to withdraw money. But nowadays, these automated teller machines are advanced, and with the help of automated teller machines, without carrying, you can say, the cards that you can are in a position to withdraw the money through the various apps like this SBI. If you talk, then the services is provided by the SBI and the others banking companies. And the automated teller machines nowadays not only that confined to its services to withdraw the money through the automated teller machines, you can, or the customers are enabled even to deposit their money. So the transfer of money, so all kinds of the services nowadays, it is extended through the automated teller machine. the telephone banking is one of the very important components nowadays, because earlier that I have told you that it was done through the personal computer, that is PC, which is installed or available at your home. But nowadays, even that you can carry your, or you can do your banking transactions with the telephone, because under the telephonic system that the bankers is extending that services to its customers. Then sometime we find that the some sort of, you can say, the banking companies through the electronic means, they are providing its customers to the home banking facilities. The internet banking is one of the very significant part of nowadays, that the banking company most of the time will find that they are extending these services to their customers, and the customers are very conveniently, they are using the internet banking, and through that internet banking either they are transferring money, or they are making all kind of, you can say, the payment, or they are in a position to make all kinds of, you can say, the bills. They are in a position to recharge anything like this. If they want to recharge their mobile, if they wish to pay any sorts of, you can say, the bills that can be done through the internet banking. And the mobile banking, as I have told you, that now the bank is available, or bank is available at your mobile phone itself. Now naturally that when we are talking about the banking services, then we'll have to appreciate the advancement of technology. The technology helps the banking companies to extend their service in a very convenient way, and it will be better to say that the banking sector is in a position to reach very conveniently, or in a very easiest way to their customer. So naturally that when we are talking about the internet banking or the e-banking, so obviously there are some the advantages or the merits, and naturally there are some disadvantages and the demerits also. So let us start with the advantages of e-banking. When you're talking with the advantages of banking, there are the various kinds of, you can say, the advantages are available at the end of the customers, and not only it benefits to the customers, it also benefited to the banking company as well. So the first is stop payment or checks. Now that what happened that the earlier that there is the sole methods which is available at the hand of the customers, that when they need some sort of the money, they'll have to rush to the bank and they'll have to issue a check for to getting the payments, and if they wish to pay some sort of, then they'll have to pay with the check. So the bankers is delivering its services as a collecting banker or the paying banker, but nowadays these services can be reduced with the help of the internet banking. Now through the internet, that there are various modes of transferring money, that RTGS and the other things can be done through the bank itself, or sometime even you can do at your end. The checkbook replacement, as I have told you, that when you are transferring money through the internet banking, so naturally the checkbook is no more very much required nowadays. Then the third thing is the demand draft and the pay order. That was one of the, you can say, the sole instrument at the hand of the customers, or you can say that it is one of the very prominent services which were rendered by the banking companies to their customers. Because most of the time you'll find that the bank draft, when we're talking about the bank draft, that means the money has already deposited to the banker, and any person who is carrying the documents, there is no chances of, you can say, the dishonor unless and until there is any kind of the technical error. So in that cases, that nowadays if you'll see that the order, that the draft, that can be, the money can be transferred through the internet banking system. Now another advantage is that the opening of fixed deposit account. If you'll, the present time, if you'll see that there is no need to go before the bank, and at the sitting at your home, the customers is in a position to open a fixed deposit account. Now the beauty of this opening of this accounts through the internet banking, the beauty is that that it's there is no need to go before the bank, and the easiest way that the certificate is generated through the electronic means, and there is no need to again that when you wish to withdraw at any time, that you can make the request and it can be withdrawal. That's a very important, as I consider that when we are talking of the conventional methods and this electronic methods, the opening of a fixed deposit is one of the easiest way. And as you know that nowadays the banking is providing the facilities to its customers for a very short period of time, that is the term deposit, the fixed deposit can be done. So there is no need to go before the bank. From your home you can transfer your money at the fixed deposit account, and whenever you wish, before the maturity of that you can withdraw it by making a request through again the internet banking. So the opening of letter of credit is also possible through this. Now it is convenient. The convenience in the sense, as I have told you, that there is no need to go to the bank. So it's a time factor. And the second one is that the availability of the concerned officials. If you'll see that the fixed deposit when we were talking about, at the time what happened, that before this technology, at the time you'll have to go, you'll have to find out the appropriate persons who is in a position to open your fixed deposit account. Now, that is not necessary nowadays. Even by sitting at your home, you can do that. The speed of concluding transactions. Now, the transactions when we are talking about, as I have told you, that through the the clearing house, it is very easy for the customers that when he is depositing any check, and that check earlier what happened, that there were the minimum time durations were provided at the time, that unless and until that minimum, as you will talk about, that within the city, then even it will take time to clear your check, a minimum 1 week time. But and if it is outside of the city, then it will take the 21 days likewise. But nowadays it is not required. Even if the bank wishes, then it can be cleared through the e-clearing house within an hour. Now the safety banking from own home. Now, as I have told you that there is no need to carry, you can say, the currency or the banknotes. That simply you'll have to carry either your mobile phones, or you can say the cards if you have, that is sufficient for you, and there is no need to carry, which is always put you in a danger mode, that is the having the huge number of, you can say, the currency notes along with you. So the economy banking without visiting your bank and cheaper services fees, as my concern, that if, as I have told you, that if your branch is situated in far away from your home, then you need some sort of, you can say, the conveyance, you need some sort of, you can say, the traveling charges. But now it's very economy because it is not need to visit your bank, and that there are the services which is rendered by the banking company, they are taking very, you can say, the small charges for it. So seamless integrations with existing environment, highly scalable, easy customization, lower cost of both installations and maintenance, the platform independence, it is your choice that to what you wish to do it, and round the clock and cross-border availability. Now, as I have told you that earlier, there is no such kind of, you can say, the provisions. At that time what happens, that suppose if you got the cross check. Now the cross check means we are calling it that it's an account pay check. And the account pay check, what you need, the account pay check, the first and foremost thing you need, that you will have to deposit at your branch. And when you deposit it, then as I have told you, that the banker will send for the collection through, of course, that the clearing house. But there were no electronic clearing house at the time. So it is a time-taking process. But now that there is no requirement. Why? Because easily it can be withdrawn, or easily it can be received from the clearing house. So there is easy customizations, we can say. And at the same time, that when we are talking about that the lower cost of both installations and the maintenance. Why I'm saying that? Because now the bank, they have collaborated each other. Now earlier what happened that a particular automated teller machines that is customized in that way that it will accept only the particular bank's cards. But now it is not like this. There is a collaboration among the bankers, and you can prefer any bank unless and until if it is restricted by the banking. So there is a collaboration amongst the private banks, amongst the nationalized banks, and any automated teller machine can be used by the you can say that any customers, irrespective of, it is not necessary that he belongs to which banks. So whenever he is going, that he can use it. So in that way, the remote authorizations is accessible. Now, as we have discussed the many things as a part of the merits of the e-banking, but naturally that every coin has the two sides. If there is a merits, obviously there is demerits also. So when we are talking about the disadvantage of e-banking, that is the relationship. Now due to that, as I would like to recall one very important thing that you have heard about, that is the Reserve Bank mandates every banking company that they must know their customers. That is KYC verifications is done every year. The reason behind that, the relationship. As I have told you that when we have discussed the relationship between the banker and customers, so according to the Surgeon Paget, the Surgeon Paget propounded the duration theory, and the duration theory, he is of the opinion that there must be a relationship between the banker and customers, that is continuous relationship. And when we are talking about the continuous relationship, that means the customers must visit the bank and the customers must be, you can say, the continuity in transactions. So the relationship, when we are talking about, somehow we find that it is the transactions is going on, but the bankers is not ever about whether the transactions is done by its customers or the transactions is made by any other person. So that is very important. So one of the disadvantages of the e-banking is that is the relationship. Online transactions have a negative impact on the connections that a customer has with their banker, which was formerly fostered via a typical visit to the branch office. The manager had a wide range of discretionary rights, such as the ability to waive punitive interest or service fees, which were often abused by the employees who had a greater understanding of the company's policies. Additionally, personal contract meant that a banker would be able to give valuable financial advice and insights to the consumers, which was useful to them. But I'm not saying that the present time they're totally neglected by it. But as I have told you, that because we know that the transactions is going on, but the bankers are not in a position to know that whether the transactions is made by his own customers or the transactions is made by any other persons. For that, the Reserve Bank mandates every banking company that they must know their customers. So there is verifications required, which you are calling the KYC verifications every year. And the bank have that right. If anyone who fails to get verifications, that is the KYC verifications, the banker has a right that he can put that account, such accounts which are not complied the provisions of RBI, that is the KYC verification, that the banker has a right that he can put all such accounts in a freeze mode. Now the complicated transactions, no doubt each and every one, we are not very much acquainted or you can say the familiar with the systems or the e-banking. So the complicated transactions, the presence of the complicated transactions that cannot be resolved without a face-to-face conversation with a manager, which is not feasible via online banking, raises and the questions of whether internet banking is a good option. Specific difficulties and complaints must be resolved in person at the bank, and this cannot be accomplished over the internet. Many complicated service problems cannot be resolved because online communications is neither clear nor focused. Certain services such as notarizations and the bank signature assurance are not available for completion via the internet. Although, as I have told you, that nowadays some of the private banks, what they are doing, they are not compelling their customers. They are doing that the online verifications, that through the video conferencings, or you can say the other kinds of electronic devices, that from their branch they are doing that. But even that, there are some sort of, you can say, the complications, transactions which will have, it cannot be resolved. And sometimes we find that it is very difficult to get that answers, or the answers which, the response which is given by the banking companies, it is not feasible in, you can say, or it is not practically that understood by the customer itself. So there is a complicated transactions cannot be solved easily. The security is another very, you can say, the demerits or disadvantage of the e-banking. The security is a big issue with the electronic banking system. Now, you might have heard about that the hijackers, or you can say that they will put your accounts in, you can say that the disoperations. Sometimes the security is the big issue, and yet the existing laws are not in a position to resolve all this security issue. So this is the most serious flaw in the online banking system, and it is the one that the average client must be on a lookout for. So identity theft is another major source of worry for consumers who do all of their financial transactions over the internet. In order to combat identity theft, most banks have made it essential to post scanned copies of cleared checks on their websites. So the banking companies, they are trying to give the good security as far as the e-banking transactions, but as I have told you that it is not foolproof. Sometimes what you'll find that you will get the different kind of, you can say, the allures statement from some agencies, and they will appears like this, that they are connected with your banking. Immediately they will rush to you, they will contact to you, they will get some sort of, you can say, the information, they will collect some sort of the information from you, and once you have shared all the information, then you will find that the transactions automatically, the transactions has been made from your account, and you will find that the huge money which is withdrawn from your account. So the such kind of the incidents is every day. If you'll read in the newspaper, then you'll find that things is going on, and because that still it is not foolproof security is available at the hands of the banking companies. The lack of customers awareness, even if you'll see that, as I've told you, that India is a different kind of, we are the huge number of, you can say, the illiterate persons. Even sometimes we find that the literate persons, but they are not well acquainted with the e-banking system. So we need, there is a, you can say, the customer awareness, but it is lacking. Although the banking company is trying to do the best efforts, or they are making the good efforts to make awareness about these things, but still, if you'll see in the Indian context, the customer knowledge of e-banking amenities and processes is still on the low side. Banks are unable to effectively convey accurate information regarding the uses, advantages, and capabilities of online banking services. One of the most significant impediments to the growth of e-banking is lack of understanding of a new technology and their advantages. Even as I have told you that due to the technological advancements, unless and until it will be adopted by the customers, it is worthless. So that whenever the new kind of, the technology is introduced as far as concerned for the e-banking, it's a duty towards, I can say that the banking companies first, they'll have to organize some sort of, the training program, some sort of, the awareness campaign, so that their customers must know about it. They must start to apply it once, unless and until they are well, the knowledge about, or they are well aware about how to use that apps. It's again, as I have told you, that it's the worthless. So still in India we are facing the lack of customers awareness. Now apart from these two, that the merits and demerits, or you can advantage or disadvantage of e-banking, that will have to see, still there are some major things, that is the internet banking issues. We'll have to deal one by one, and then we will finally we will see that what are the legal issues which is involved in the e-banking sector. The main issues in internet banking can be classified as follows. As I have already discussed with, the security issue is there. In internet banking, information is considered as an asset and so worthy of protection. The security concerns in the internet scenario manifest in the use of public network and related security threats online. The bank should put in place proper and tested information technology infrastructure and software. That it's the duty towards that. The issues which I have, as I have told you, that it's a very the major issues. And when as a customers of any bank, if you are using any kind of, you can say, internet banking, then the security is one of the great issue, and that has to be resolved. The second is the authenticity. When we were visiting, or you can say when we are working in the conventional mode of the bank, at that time we'll find that we are going to the bank, everything is authenticated before the authority of the banking company. But nowadays, when we are doing all the things through the e-banking, then authenticity is another kind of, you can say, the big issue before the banking and the customer. So the use authentication assumes a great significance in internet banking, as customers log on to the system from different locations without any physical means of authentication. Therefore, the proper identifications and authentication procedures should be established and followed to establish the accountability and to prevent unauthorized persons from gaining access to these systems. This can be achieved through, for example, passwords or smart tokens, logical access controls to establish and who has access to the specific type of information resources and the types of access permitted. Now, the one very important thing, that is that how it can be authenticated. So normally that the banking sector provided a permanent index number, that is the PIN, and apart from that it permits to the customers to create a password. So that's only the authentications which will have at the end of the customers at the present time. So as we are going through, that is also threatened by the different kind of the means, and when we'll see, then we'll find that in the newspaper, or sometime we'll find that it is also advised by the instructions is made by the Reserve Bank of India or by the banking from their end, that you do not share the password, or you don't give any you can the easy password, or sometime they are talking about that frequently you'll have to change the password for the purpose of the safety purpose. So the authentications is still the great issue as far as concerned the e-banking. Non-repudiation. Another issue is with the e-banking is the non-repudiation. The non-repudiation issue is one of the most important issues in online banking. No customer should later claim that any particular transactions was not transacted by him or her. Thus, proper authentications and authorizations mechanism using encryptions and digital signatures should be established. That the digital signature, which is one of the important part of it, gives some sort of, you can say, the security purpose. But at the same time, what happens that if any transactions which is done or which is made between the banker customers, then normally the banker is denying it if you are not making the proper, you can say, the complaints, if you are not giving the proper information within the stipulated time, then the bank is denied to address it. Now, the privacy is another very big issue as far as the e-banking is concerned. So the bank should provide privacy of the data and the transactions in all circumstances except in cases when instructed by the competent legal authority or the government to divulge the same. Even if the website or the database maintenance is outsourced, the bank should take the primacy responsibility of preventing breach of confidentiality. Thus, privacy not only covers confidentiality of the bank's data, but also guarantees the data's level of privacy, which is being used by different operators at different levels of authorization. The privacy is one of the fundamental rights, and at the most of the time we find that your data is available at the public end. At the public end, when am I talking about? Because when you are opening an account, all kind of, you can say, the information is required. For example, if you are going to open a bank account, then the bank account needs your the address verification. So the address verifications nowadays very promptly, you can say, they are accepted by the bank, or the bank is demanding that you'll have to provide the Aadhaar card. So you have given the Aadhaar card. Then again it is talking about that if you have an account and if you are transacting the 50,000 and above, then you need what? That is the PAN number, the permanent account number, which is issued by the income tax authority. So that your all sorts of, you can say, the information, the personal data is available at the public place. Now it is the duty of the banking company that when they receive that, so you have given that information that the bank will not disclose, or the bank will not make available in the public domain your the data which you have provided at the request of the bank to comply the some sort of, you can say, the requisites by the either it is the Reserve Bank of India, as I have told you that the KYC is mandatory and it mandates by the Reserve Bank of India to every banking company. So every banking company, they will get the authentications by verifying your address, by verifying your other documents. So it is very important that your private data, it is not very safe. The availability, as far as concerned, that availability is again the big issues as far as concerned the internet banking. The internet banking service should be available round the clock to the customers, or else the goodwill and reputations of the bank will take a beating, resulting its financial loss as well as losing out loyal customers. The system should be up and running in reliable manner when needed, and timely access to resources should be ensured all the time. Now the system architectures and design, it is one of the big issue before the internet banking. That is, the choice of technological infrastructure generally determines the success of internet banking in the long run. A correct systems architecture and design will help in managing operational and security risks to a greater extent. The banking services can also be catered in the reliable fashion. The bank should take care that any financial transactions should move only in a secure environment. As I have told you that the security is the big issue. So for that purpose, that's the bank should adopt the systems architecture and the designs in such a way so that their infrastructure generally determines the success of internet banking in the long run. So correct systems architecture and design will help in managing the operational and security risks to a greater extent. The banking services can also be catered in a reliable fashion. The bank should take care that any financial transactions should move only in a secure environment. So there must be that whatever may be, as I have told you, that the password or the PIN number or whatever may be the means they are adopting, that must be some sort of, you can say, the protected, so that it cannot be easily abused or misused. Now another big issue, that is the trust. As I have told you that in your mobile, every time you will find that it appears that some instructions you have received from your banking end. That's a big problem. Sometimes we are also facing that even the advertisement which is made, or it is coming in your email, because the email address you have given to the banking company. So it is coming at your end that there's some sort of instructions that is issued by the Reserve Bank of India. So that's a very big issue between the banker and customers, that how it can be tested, or you can say how it can be checked. That's a big issue before the banking and the customer. So the trust you'll have to build up, and as I consider that in internet banking, establishment of trust among the parties is essential, because as I've told you that in the conventional systems, the banker and the customers, they are sitting together, they are meeting together. But as I concern that when we are talking about the internet banking, the two parties are sitting far away from, but they are making all sorts of the banking business. It will be better to say they are making more banking business through this mode. So in internet banking, establishment of trust among the parties is essential. This can be established through a trusted third party designated as a certification authority. The digital certificate issued by the certification authority to various entities along with at least two factors identifications mechanisms can be trusted for the authentications and non-repudiations of the users. Now the business continuity planning, it is very important again that the business continuity planning should be an integral part of bank's internet banking policy. It ensures that the bank can prevent interruptions and recover and resume processing in the event of partial or complete interruptions internet banking system services availability. A long delay in making available the services to the customers in case of disruption of the internet banking systems may erode the bank credibility and goodwill as well as the customers' confidence in the bank's internet banking services. You will see that the most of the time, sometime we find that when we are comparing with the private bank, then we will find the nationalized bank, particularly one of the largest bank in our country, the State Bank of India. If you visit the State Bank of India, the ATM machine, then most of the time you will find that either it is out of order, or if it is working, then sometime you will find that there is a very, you can say, the low internet access. So the most of the time we find that the services which is being rendered by the nationalized bank, particularly if you'll see that the largest bank that you will take the Bank of Baroda, or you will talk about the State Bank of India, then you will find that there are many kind of, you can say, the issues that is going on. By making many times of the complaint, it is not resolved at their end at an, you can say, the earliest time. So that it is very important that the planning should be, the continuity planning, business planning should be there, so that the customers, the complaint can be redressed in a very easiest way. The security awareness training and educations, as we have already discussed, that as one question that when we are talking about the e-banking, this issue is still very alarming, that is the security awareness training and education. Most of the time we are facing the problems that due to the uneducated, or you can say the lack of knowledge, the most of the cyber fraud is taking place in internet banking system. Now the issues which is available in the hand of the internet banking, that is the security breach detections and incident response system. One major area of concern today is internet banking is the timely detections of security breach and incident response mechanism to perform the necessary damage control exercise, follow up the exceptions reporting to the of logs like the audit log, the systems log, user log, etc. become important task. Responsibility and accountability of the key personnel along with the other staff members should be clearly demarcated. At the end, I would like to share with you that the last aspects of this, that is the legal framework of the e-banking in India. As you know, that to keep up with the digitizations of the banking system, the Reserve Bank of India, which was established in the year 1935 and is the sources of all banking activities and the supreme monetary authority in the country, began issuing regulations, circulars and directives in pieces. Collections of laws in India serves as the legal basis for banking. So the major laws, I'm not saying that these are the only these laws are applicable to the banking, but as I consider the major part which has been played, or in other way we can say that these laws empowered the Reserve Bank of India to regulate the banking business or in our country. The Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, the Banking Regulations Act 1949, the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, and the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So as far as concerned, that as I have told you, the Reserve Bank was established under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, and it started working on from the 1st April of 1935, and it is one of the sole authority. It will better to say that with the cop up with the, you can say, the central government, or particularly the finance department, the Reserve Bank has given the wide role to regulate or control the banking business in our country. So these powers have been conferred under the Banking Regulations Act of 1949, and if we'll see that neither the banking company can take birth in our country unless and until that they are taking license from the Reserve Bank of India. So the wide power has been given, and the winding of process that can be done through the Banking Regulations Act of 1949. Not only that, from time to time that to inspect whether the banking, you can say, the functions is doing or it is going with the interest of the customers or not, that will be scrutinized. That power has been conferred under section 35, 35A and the 36, where the powers have been conferred that the bank can do the wide powers, and what that the bank can stop to taking fresh deposits, or the Reserve Bank can convene the any kind of, you can say, inquiry or the investigations or a scrutiny process to any banking company to ensure that whether the functions of any banking company, whether it is going on in the right way or not. As we know that as far as concerned, the things which is accepted as an instrument that is dealt under the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. The Negotiable Instruments Act, if we have already discussed earlier, that it defines the every instruments, and the definitions has been made under section 13 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, which talks about the negotiable instruments means the promissory note, the bill of exchange and the checks. Primarily these three things has been taken into consideration according to section 13 of the Negotiable Instruments Act. But on the other hand, when we are talking about section 13 is not restricted, and these three terms has been again defined under section 4, which define the terms promissory notes, the section 5 which is defining the term that is the bill of exchange, and the section 6 which defining the term checks. So, and the vice versa, we have discussed all these, you can say, the roles of the Negotiable Instruments Act as far as concerned for the determining the obligations of the parties and the other things. But here I would like to share some of the other things which is very important. That is, let us see the some of the due to the internet banking system, some sort of, you can say, the e-banking legal regimes. So I have divided this, the e-banking legal regime. The internet banking is legal in the country, and the Information Technology Act 2000, which was amended in 2008, has partially met the remaining requirement for internet transactions. The Information Technology Act recognizes electronic transactions as the foundations of internet banking. Contracts, agreements, and transactions that are concluded electronically are referred to as electronic transactions. So e-commerce and electronic transmissions are now legal in the country thanks to the Information Technologies Act passage in 2000. So by passage of the Information Technologies Act, that we are the remaining part of, you can say, the apart from the Banking Regulations Act, apart from the Reserve Bank of India Act, apart from the Foreign Exchange Management Act, or last one, as I have told you, that the Negotiable Instruments Act. So apart from that, some other laws are also applicable to cater or to meet out the need of the internet banking. So these are the Indian Penal Code 1860, the Preventions of Money Laundering Act 2002, Information Technology Amendment Act 2008, and Information Technology, Reasonable Security Practices and Procedures and Sensitive Personal Data and Information Rules 2018. So we'll see one by one. As far as concerned, the Indian Penal Code 1860, it is used as an internet banking infractions. The topic is fundamentally money. Thus, certain offences under the Indian Penal Code given under chapter that is 17 of the Indian Penal Code can likewise be applied, where the infringer commits a specific offences gave in that in internet banking. Hence, the accompanying the segments are material in such a circumstances, like the theft will apply the which has been defined under section 378 and 379 of the Indian Penal Code. Then the very important thing, that is the extortions, that is also connected with the internet banking, and it is defined under section 383 and 384 of the Indian Penal Code. The third one is the criminal misappropriations of property that has been given under section 403 of the Indian Penal Code. And the fourth one is criminal breach of trust, that is the procedure has been made under section 405 and 406. So let us continue with some of the terms which is very important as far as concerned when we are talking about the Indian Penal Code. So the term forgery has been defined in relevance to the electronic record as well. That is, the offense of forgery is said to be committed when anyone makes not only a false document but also a false electronic record that has been defined under section 463. When we are talking about the section 463, then we find that the forgery has not been confined to only that the conventional, but it is also included the electronic records as well. So the offense of forgery is said to be committed when anyone makes not only the false document but also the false electronic documents. So it included the electronic documents. And similarly, when we are talking about the term making of the false documents, also includes the affixing electronic signature on any electronic records. In that way, when we are reading these two provisions, the section 463 or the section 464 clause C, then we find that the documents, when we are talking about the documents, is not only that the documents which is available in, you can say, the hard copy, but the documents may be which is available in the electronic means or the electronic forms, that is also accepted. And if any things which is used for that purpose, that can be comes under the definition of a forgery. Then use of false documents or electronic record and use of such false documents as genuine. When we are talking about that, as far as the evidences purpose, the use of false documents or electronic records and use of such false documents as genuine, and that has been made the provisions under section 470 and 471 of the Indian Penal Code. At the same time, the Information Technology Act 2000 has amended the original sections to add the electronic documents in the definitions of forged documents. Now the last one, which is very important, that is cheating, which most of the time which is going on. This things has been made under the sections 415 and the 420. So the false or unscrupulously investigating an individual to deliver property and so forth. This should be possible by the utilizations of electronic means also. Consequently, it is materialized alongside the significant sections of the Information Technology Act 2000. So in this regard, we will have to see the other provisions which is made under the Preventions of Money Laundering Act 2002. So India has passed the Preventions of Money Laundering Act 2002, and the Reserve Bank of India, SEBI, IRDA are brought under the Act, and thus all the financial institutions, banks, mutual funds, insurance companies and their financial intermediaries are also covered by it. The Act has since been amended in the 2005, 2009 and 2012. When we are talking about this, the Money Laundering Act, some of the offences of the money laundering are anyone who directly or indirectly is a party or is involved in any activity related to the proceed of crime, including its concealment, possessions, acquisitions, use and projections as untainted property, is said to commit an offence of money laundering according to section 3 as amended in the 2012. So for that purpose, that the section 4, which is amended again in the 2011, and it states that anyone found guilty of money laundering will face rigorous imprisonment for up to 3 years, which can be extended to 7 years as well as fine. Now the Internet Banking and the Payment Settlement System 2007 when we are talking about, the Reserve Bank of India has the primary authority to act in relation to the violations of punishable under this Act. Operating a payment systems without authorization, failing to comply with the terms of authorizations, failing the produce statements, returning informations or documents, providing false information, disclosing prohibition information, and failing to comply with the Reserve Bank of India directions under it. These are covered as an offense under this Act. Now, at the end, just I'd like to mention that is some of the very important provisions which is made under the Information Technology Amendment Act 2008. So the body corporate handling personal data, if neglects to protect, is liable to pay damages by way of compensation to such persons. The handling of such personal data should be in accordance with the security practices and procedures laid down now in Rule 8 of the Information Technology Rules 2011 according to Section 43A. The others very important things is Section 66C, which talks about the identity theft. Fraudulently or dishonestly using any electronic signature, password, unique identification figures of another person's is punishable with the imprisonment up to 3 years and a fine of 1 lakh rupees. That provisions has been made under 66C. 67C is another very important provisions which is made under the Information Technology Act, that is, intermediaries should preserve and retain information in prescribed manner, the violations of which is an offense. Punishment entails imprisonment up to 3 years and the fine. The disclosures of information by an authority having access to it without the consent of the person concerned, the punishment includes the imprisonment up to 2 years or fine up to 1 lakh or both. Under the rules of 2011, body corporate must obtain consent of the persons concerned regarding the purposes and nature of the information which is being collected according to Section 70 of the Information Technology Act. The 72 is also very important, which talks about where a body corporate approaching the individual data of an individual under the contract of uncovers it to one more determined to make unfair, misfortunate or improper increase anybody, then it will be reversed with the detainment as long as 3 years or with fine up to 5 lakhs rupees or with both. The last things, that is the rules which is given under the Information Technology Act 2000 are primarily concerned with users' personal information. Thus, the password and electronic directives supplied by the accounts holder to the bank constitute the user's personal information in the context of the internet banking. As a result, the rules define the following terms. The one, that is the password and the personal information. The sensitive personal data or information, and these personal informations or the sensitive personal data shall be obtained by the body corporate only with the consent of the information provider, and even for the lawful purpose according to. Now, at the end, just one thing which I like to share with you, the precautions as far as concerned that each and every one of we are involved with the e-banking. So that there are certain things which you don't do it. So I have used the don't share any information. The informations like the PIN number, the OTP and any other personal information. It is strictly my submissions towards all of you that you don't do it because the banker never asks any kind of information from its customers. And what you will have to do, that it's very important that you'll have to do the one thing, the guidelines which has been issued from time to time by your banking concern or by the Reserve Bank of India. With this, I would like to mention one very important thing. As I've told you, that only the precautions is the best means or methods to keep ourselves the safe and the secured one. As I've told you, there is no foolproof any kind of the security has been made under the present legal system. We are trying to find out some concrete solutions, but yet we have not reached to that end. So for that, it is very important what is that we should not provide any kind of our personal data or information to any third party unless and until it is asked by the banking concern. Thank you very much.